The Zephyrian fleet stretched across the void like a metallic constellation, their dreadnoughts gleaming obsidian monuments to 1,000 conquered worlds. Admiral Kexathul stood on the bridge of the flagship Eternal Dominion, his forearms crossed, in satisfaction as he gazed through the viewport at the pathetic human vessel that had dared to intercept them. "Look at this insignificant speck," Kexathul chittered to his officers, mandibles clicking in amusement. The human ship was laughably small, barely 200 meters long compared to his flagship's 20-kilometer bulk. "They call this a warship? It's smaller than our waste disposal pods." The bridge erupted in harmonious laughter, a sound like breaking glass that echoed through the command center. Sub-Admiral Vextar, whose species had been enslaved 3 centuries ago, leaned forward at his station. "Sir, they're broadcasting on all frequencies. Should we respond?" "Put them through." Kexathul waved a dismissive claw. "Let's hear what these primitives have to say before we vaporize them." The main screen flickered to life, revealing a human female in a crisp blue uniform. Her dark skin was marked with scars, and her eyes held a coldness that momentarily surprised the Zephyrian. "Commander." Behind her, the bridge was cramped but efficient, every surface serving multiple purposes. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Terran vessel Prometheus," she said, her voice steady despite facing a fleet that could glass entire continents. "You have entered human space without permission and destroyed 3 of our colonies. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences." The laughter resumed with even greater intensity. Kexathul wiped moisture from his compound eyes with one hand while gesturing with another. "Human, your entire species numbers barely 10 billion across a handful of worlds. My fleet has conquered civilizations spanning thousands of star systems. Your warship wouldn't qualify as a shuttle in our navy. What possible threat could you pose?" Captain Chen's expression didn't change. "We are the consequences you've been avoiding for the past 1,000 years, Admiral. This is your final warning." "Amusing," Kexathul turned to his weapons officer. "Target their engines. Let's capture them alive. They'll make excellent specimens for our laboratories." "Sir," the weapons officer's voice carried a note of confusion. "Our targeting systems can't get a lock. Their ship is on. It's like it's not entirely there." Before Kexathul could respond, the human ship began to change. Its hull shimmered, and sections that had appeared solid revealed themselves to be clever projections. The vessel unfolded like an origami flower, expanding rapidly as hidden compartments deployed massive arrays and weapon systems emerged from what had seemed like empty space. "Dimensional folding technology." Captain Chen's voice came through, the calm with what might have been the ghost of a smile. "We've been watching you, Admiral, learning, waiting." The Prometheus had grown to nearly match the flagship's length, its true form now revealed as a sleek predator, bristling with weapons that hummed with barely contained energy. Strange geometric patterns pulsed along its hull, and space itself seemed to bend around the vessel. "Impossible," Kexathul breathed. "No species develops dimensional engineering before achieving interstellar dominance. The computational requirements alone—" "You underestimated us," Chen interrupted. "You've been conquering civilizations for millennia, but you've grown complacent. We've had advantages you never possessed: desperation, unity, and the accumulated knowledge of every species you've enslaved." Alarms began blaring across the Zephyrian fleet as their sensors detected massive energy readings from the human ship. The Prometheus was drawing power from somewhere else, multiple elsewheres if the readings were correct. "Sir," the science officer's voice cracked with terror, "they're tapping directly into stellar cores. Multiple stars across local space are being siphoned." Captain Chen's image leaned forward. "For 1,000 years, you've spread across the galaxy like a plague. Today, that ends. Not just your fleet, Admiral, your entire civilization." The weapon that deployed from the Prometheus defied easy description. It wasn't a cannon or missile launcher, but rather a twisted corridor through space-time itself. A tunnel that reached through dimensions to touch the heart of the Zephyrian home system, 800 light-years away. "You monsters," Kexathul whispered, finally understanding. "You're going to—" We're going to do to you what you've done to countless others, Chen said. The difference is we'll finish the job. The Star Killer fired not with a flash or explosion, but with a sound like reality tearing. Through the dimensional breach, stellar material from harvested suns poured directly into the Zephyrian home, Star. The resulting cascade reaction would propagate faster than light through their hyperspace networks, following their own infrastructure back to every system they controlled. In the fleet around them, Zephyrian ships began to panic and scatter, but it was far too late. The weapon continued its work with inexorable precision. How? Kexthel asked, his voice hollow with defeat. We learned from everyone you conquered, Chen replied. The Altarians taught us dimensional mathematics. The Vegan Collective showed us stellar manipulation. The Andromedans gave us faster-than-light cascading reactions. Every species you enslaved contributed to this moment. The Prometheus began to fold back into its compact configuration as the weapon completed its cycle. Across Zephyrian space, stars were going nova in a carefully orchestrated chain reaction that would sterilize their entire empire within hours. Your mistake, Captain Chen said as the communication ended, was assuming that humans were just another primitive species to be conquered. You never realized we were the consequences finally catching up with you. The last thing Admiral Kexthel saw before his flagship was consumed by stellar fire was the small human ship disappearing into dimensional fold space, carrying news of their victory back to Earth, and to the hundreds of liberated species who had helped make this moment possible. In the end, size had mattered far less than ingenuity, desperation, and the combined wisdom of the galaxy's oppressed. The Zephyrian Empire collapsed in a single day, their laughter finally silenced by the Yao, tiny ship they had so foolishly underestimated.